Historical Reconstruction of Aryan X. Episode 54, The Palace of the Central Asian Emperor and the Alhambra Palace of España. Starting from this episode, for about 7 installments, I will explain the basic historical knowledge you must know before delving into the dynasties of the 25 histories of China, the origin of the separation of state and religion. You may think you have a certain degree of historical knowledge and insight, but from my perspective, it is impossible to possess the basic literacy to see the truth of history within the framework of a fabricated history. Therefore, I will elevate your fundamental historical literacy by not just one, but several levels. Aryan X's most beloved and favorite guitar piece is Recuerdos de la Alhambra. I am listening to this piece endlessly again today. You have been taught that the Alhambra Palace in the southern part of present-day España was built by the Saracens of the Middle East. However, what would you think if the name of the Alhambra Palace in the Andalusia region of southern España, Alhambra, was actually the combination of the place names Al, Ham, and Bra from the location of the Chianja as Son of Heaven, Emperor in Turkmenistan, Central Asia, the center of the world? I have said that truth can be found even within fabricated history. Now then, let's find the protagonists of the Alhambra Palace. In the 4th–5th centuries, the Huns, the emperor's power based in Turkmenistan, Central Asia, moved to Europe, bringing an end to the independent political form of Roman civilization. Europe then transitioned into an era of a confederate empire under the rule of the Central Asian emperor. In history, this is called the Gothic Empire, the period following the Roman Empire, and the Hunnic Empire is also the Gothic Empire of the Ostrogoths and Visigoths. At this time, the forces of the Central Asian Huns who moved to Europe appeared in history with their identities concealed under names such as the Germanic peoples, the Alani, or the Lombards. Let's look at the example of the Alani. Quoting Wikipedia. The Alani or Alans were an Iranian nomadic people originating from the steppe region northeast of the Black Sea. They first appear in ancient Roman literature around the 1st century CE and are said to have originated from the Caucasus by the Caspian Sea and advanced westward. Described as a tall people with blonde hair. During the Great Migration of the Germanic peoples in the 3rd and 4th centuries, the Alani, like other nomadic peoples, invaded the territory of the Roman Empire under the influence of the Huns. They moved with the Vandals and the Suebi into Gaul and from there crossed the Pyrenees down into España. According to René Grousset, the name Catalonia in Spain is a composite of Goth and Alan. Those who fabricated history worked to hide the location of the Chianja Emperor's central court in Turkmenistan east of the Caspian Sea by misplacing it in the region north of the Caspian Sea as mentioned above. The Al in Alani refers to the people from the land where the Chianja Emperor resided. Yet, it is said that the name of the masters of Spain, Catalonia, is a composite of Goth and Alan. The problem lies in the Goth and Alan of these place names. Catalonia in Spain was said to be the Greek civilization founded in present-day Spain by those who moved from the Iberian Peninsula in Georgia during the age of theocratic rule. This Catalonia was the central region of western Greece across the Mediterranean, and the historian René Grousset called them the Goth Alan. The region of the land Al, where the Chianja Emperor of Central Asia was called so because it was a place that could be looked down upon from a high place, and in Hanja it was called Goyang, using the character for high, go. In other words, the go in the Goth of present-day Catalonia, Spain, is Hanja, and ta is the Korean word for land. It is a typical Korean word, a combination of Hanja and Korean. Alan is a word with the same meaning as the land Al, where the Chianja Emperor resided. Now then, let's also examine another fabricated history from the same period concerning a power that ruled northern Italy. I quote from Wikipedia. The Longobardi, or Lombards, were a Germanic people who originated from the Scandinavian peninsula and formed part of the Suebi in the 1st century. They lived along the Danube River and in 568, under the command of King Alboin, invaded Italy, then a territory of the Byzantine Empire, and established a kingdom. Their kingdom ruled Italy until it was conquered by the Franks in 774. It says the Lombards emerged from the Scandinavian peninsula, but do you know what this word Lombardy means? The Ram in Lombardy is the bright of Roma or Rama. Bar is a pure Korean word for bright, and di is an archaic word meaning land. This Lombardia is a pure Korean word, so from where in present-day Scandinavia could it have appeared? In this way, the history of the world's center in Turkmenistan, Central Asia, was fabricated and transplanted in all directions, erasing its traces. From the national name of modern España to all its place names, they are all in Korean. Only the Korean people can recognize this. I will quote from an encyclopedia about the Alhambra Palace. It was built on a narrow site of 130 by 180 meters within an Islamic-era fortress with a circumference of 3.5 kilometers, erected on a hill overlooking Granada. Muhammad I al-Ghalib of the Nasrid dynasty, the last Islamic dynasty of España, began its construction in the late 13th century and was completed through successive additions and renovations by later rulers. Most of the current palace dates from the 14th century. First, let me clarify the names of the Andalusia region and the Granada province where the Alhambra Palace was located. The place in Central Asian Turkmenistan where the Great Papal See and the Chanja Emperor resided was called Anju. Therefore, Chang'an in history is also called Seon, the western region of Anju. The dal in Andalusia typically means land in Korean, and Lucia is the same as Arasa of the Russian Empire. Lucia and Russia are the same word, which came from Barasia or Balsia, meaning brightness. The An in Andalusia and the land where the Emperor of Central Asia resided, An, are identical place names. The Gra in Granada is the same as the Gri in Korea or Korea. In other words, the place names of the Andalusia and Granada, where the Alhambra Palace was located, were all place names from where the Chanja of Central Asia resided. However, as history was manipulated, all these circumstances were fabricated to suggest they were created by the Islamic people currently located in the Middle East. But this word Islam is also Korean. The Isil in Islam has the same meaning as the Isil in Islamabad, meaning outside. And Ram is the bright of Rama or Rama. The meaning of Alhambra of the Alhambra Palace in present-day Spain is as follows. Al was the place name Al or Ral of Turkmenistan in Central Asia, which was the center of the world where the Chanja Emperor resided. This land of Al, Ral, where the Chanja resided, was called Hamyang, using the character Ham, and from here the Afang Palace of Qin Shi Huang later emerged. This place where the Chanja Emperor resided was called a bright place, thus Bra from Brahman or Baraman. The Alhambra of the Alhambra Palace in Spain was the place name of the location where the Chanja Emperor of Turkmenistan resided. The forces from this place moved to Europe, built a palace, and transferred the Central Asian place names directly. That splendid name is the Alhambra of España. In the next episode, I will reveal all the secrets about the national names of the 25 dynasties of Chinese history that appear in history. I sincerely hope that you contact many people and participate in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The heavens and the earth will tremble. Subtitle languages can be translated into the language of each country, so please make use of this feature. If there are any issues, please contact me via the comments or Google Mail. The Google Mail address is aryanrealhistory@gmail.com. The YouTube video address is Historical Reconstruction of Aryan X or History Restoration of Aryan X. Everyone, your subscription and like are your conscience and passion for the truth, so please do not forget.